This is the Happy Hour Network.
Pay attention, son. This is for your own good.
And what you just heard is the last week. It's official. It's the last week of part one, season one of the LMP theme song. Next week, we have a new theme song coming on. We're really excited about it. This is Ted Hicks joining you tonight on the LMP show. I guess you can find me at The Real Ted Hicks on Twitter, where I like to say I'm active, but, kind of healthily active. Is that even a word? I guess I'll have to edit that part. Nah, not at all. Listen, this is Ted Hicks, LMP show, Late Night Parent Radio. Really happy to be here once again tonight. You can find us on Twitter at Late Night Parent. You can find us on Facebook, facebook.com/Late Night Parents. You can go to the portal, latenightparents.com. And for those of you that are lazy, LNP.TV. Yes, we're prepping going forward for the future TV show where Late Night Parents comes alive. So many things to touch upon tonight. I think we've got, I would say, a nice show scheduled for tonight, because guess what? It's all enclosed. It's nothing but. I feel cornered, and I feel cornered because I have three people that are going to be joining me tonight. None other than Dannt Thompson, Ranen Freshly, a new name to the pack, and the real Rob Steele will be joining us, talking about various topics. Some of these topics you're going to like. Some of these topics you're not going to like. But guess what? It's all about me. It's not about you. This is like some type of alternate universe. No, all in all, folks, happy to be here. Late Night Parents is here. Got to give as always, we give shout-outs to our radio partners that are always backing us up through thick and thin. You and I are one radio. IPTV radio, XRP radio in the UK, I-95 Sports, Big Bobby, always in the cut, hitting me on a text message, just blew me up to Lee and Todd today, but that's another story that we'll get into at another time. Nah, just joking. What's up, Bobby? And NGSC Sports. Why? Because they are powered through the iHeartRadio app. And, of course, the home of Late Night Parents is none other than the Happy Hour Network. Happy to be here. Shout out to our friends at Imagination Unlimited. Shout out to Starlight Entertainment Radio. Shout out to you for listening, because you might not catch us live, but you catch us on the 24/7 stream or through any of our radio partners. Life Improvement Radio, what's up, guys? Eric, what's going on? So we got through that. Now we're going to get into some of the topics we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to talk NBA Finals in the next couple of minutes with Dannt Thompson. We're going to introduce new to the network. A bunch of new shows are coming onto the network. Things are exploding around here. Dogs and cats are getting together. I don't know what's going on, but Ranen Freshly is a new name to HHN. Real Rob Steele, still a fairly new name. The Fwat Show. I don't know. We're going to talk children and screen time tonight. We're going to talk the Takata airbag recall. Takata makes the airbag for everyone, like, in the universe. What are you guys doing? I hope you were inspired after last week's conversation about getting your teeth cleaned and getting that hygiene, that oral hygiene up to snuff. I hope you checked out our thank you to the Armed Forces for Memorial Day on Late Night Parents. I hope you did. And if you didn't, shame on you. But we're going to talk news and notes later on and a whole bunch of other things. As always, got to give a shout-out to the two CEOs of Happy Hour, Lee Val and Todd Vandenberg. They actually keep this engine going, as always, with, the finances and speaking with whomever they need to speak with to keep this, like I said, to keep this engine going. Other than that, we're going to go real briefly and touch base with NBA full court press Dannt Thompson.
None other than Dannt Thompson joining the call. Glad to have you here, Danny.
How you doing, Ted? How's everything?
Pretty good. So this is recording this session right here. Really, in most cases, we would always go live, but for this one, there's a special reason. Talking about the NCAA this weekend that's happening on April 4th. So you got the Final Four. I mean, I know there's a lot of noise going on right now with everything talking about the Religious Freedom Act, and things are going on in Indianapolis, and you got governors and legislators from all around. Danny, what's your take? Glad to have you on.
Great to be on, Ted. I guess let's start with the Religious Freedom Act. It couldn't come at a crazier time for the state of Indiana, especially with the Final Four being in town this weekend. It's also the headquarters of the NCAA. So, the NCAA is caught in a catch-22 situation. The Religious Freedom Act pretty much allows any place to do as they say if you're based on religion. If you don't want to serve people because of your religion, it's okay. And it's going to cause a humongous firestorm everywhere because, it's Final Four weekend. You have everybody coming in town, especially with high-profile schools like Duke, Michigan State, Kentucky, and Wisconsin, and all their fans from all the different backgrounds coming into Indianapolis, in a city that's supposed to, generate, maybe $100 million in tourism and money over the next, just say, starting probably today through at least Tuesday. All the money they're going to generate for restaurants and hotels and just attractions itself is going to be, slighted and dented in a certain way. And also at the same time, NCAA headquarters is in Indianapolis. So it puts them in a very bad situation. And I wonder now, will Indianapolis get any more of the NCAA, venues or any type of events from now on because of this act? So I think with them passing it, I don't think the state of Indiana realizes how much damage they're going to do and how much damage they have done for events like this and future events coming up in the near future.
I think you're onto something. You're onto something because it's just that not just with NCAA, but you got the Combine. All the events happen at Lucas Oil Stadium. I think it's a game changer because you have so many different people speaking out about it, and I think it's something that's, for the most part, people are, you have the Arkansas governor urging changes to that bill. You have people speaking out, talking about, hey, I'm not going to put my dollars there, or I'm not traveling there. I don't think there's any change. I would like to see if there was change that was going to be impacted before this weekend, but it's highly doubtful. You got greats like ex-NBA greats between Barkley and you got Reggie Miller, who's going to be I think the color commentator. You got Barkley in the studio. You got a combo of folks that are, speaking out about.
And the best thing about the show is when we do these live interviews or recorded interviews, which were live earlier, if you hit the wrong button, the wrong interview is going to play. So now we'll play the right interview.
Oh. And good evening. This is Late Night Parents coming with a special interview with a friend to the room, also a brethren on the network himself, none other than the host of NBA Full Court Press, Dannt Thompson. Glad to have you here, Danny. What's new in the world of the NBA?
Ted, you got this thing called the NBA Finals starting up tomorrow, some small event with a chance to see a new champion being crowned starting tomorrow night.
Yeah, pretty interesting. Danny, usually whenever a host or, a blogger or someone that's pushing their product, we usually hold off from, till the very end, but I want to mention that Dannt Thompson is a label mate on Happy Hour Network. Happy to have him, happy to call him a friend. And his show, which is very unique, and I know this is a unique network, but his show, NBA Full Court Press, is on every Thursday. And I was about to say 9, and you heard, I had to pump the brakes a little bit on it. It's usually 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern time zone. But what's happening with the NBA Finals, right here? What's happening with NBA Full Court Press? So before we even talk basketball business, let's talk NBA Full Court Press business.
Well, this week, the next 2 weeks with the finals going on, a 9 to 11 show is going right during the finals. And, most people, who watch basketball are going to be tuned into the finals, including myself. And we want to do the show a little bit early the next 2 weeks. So during the finals, the show is going to be on from 7:30 to 8:30. We're going to do an hour pregame show, just talking the game, talking what's going on in the finals, and a couple topics around the league. But that'll give everybody 30 minutes to tune into the ABC broadcast, the ABC pregame, and get settled in. If you got kids, get them to bed, grab something to eat, do a couple things around the house, make your significant other happy, and then tune into the game at 9 o'clock. So we don't want nobody to miss out on the game because it's the finals. It's the biggest time of year for NBA fans, so we don't want nobody to miss out on it.
That's true. So there is this thing, now that we've handled Happy Hour Network business, we can handle the thing called the NBA Finals and everything that's happening. It's the match of everyone in the world. I won't limit it to America. I'll say the world wanted to see. They wanted to. Did America want to see LeBron James for the 5th time in a row? I don't know. If it is, that's one piece about it. But I tell you, the matchup with the Cavs and the Warriors, I guess it's the sexiest matchup that we wanted to see. We could have seen the Cavs and the Clippers. I think that would have been also as dramatic with everything that the Clippers organization has gone through for the past 18 months. But give us your thought. Give us your thoughts on the NBA Finals as a whole. What should we expect coming out the gate?
You should expect some extreme fireworks. Game 1 is going to be at Oracle Arena, or most people who know the NBA call it Oracle because it's the loudest place in the NBA. You have a team in the Golden State Warriors who were the best team in the NBA all season. They're led by the league's MVP, Stephen Curry, first-year head coach and Steve Kerr, which is so many ironic parts of the series because you see Mark Jackson calling the game for ABC, who was the former head coach of the Golden State Warriors last season. So to have him announce the team that he coached last season in the finals is irony enough. But you have the Warriors with the Splash Brothers, like I said, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, who's playing for a huge contract. You have a multitude of guys of the team. Harrison Barnes, who's played extremely well in Game 5 of the Rocket series, last series. Andrew Bogut. So many big names going against the man who went home. LeBron James, and the biggest story of the summer last year was LeBron going back to Cleveland and trying to elevate his entire city and that entire organization to be in the NBA Finals. You know, they're missing Kevin Love, but they still have Kyrie Irving. You still have Tristan Thompson. You have so many different pieces to that puzzle. And like I said, you have the two most popular players in the league right now, James and Curry, going at it. You know, it's just nothing but popcorn watching for the next 2 weeks.
So it's like I said, it's the sexiest, I guess, matchup that we could have expected for the NBA. I'm sure the execs and Adam Silver and everyone else are grinning ear to ear about this.
Oh yeah.
You know, I mean, Steph Curry is the you know, I hate to say he's the next best thing or the next biggest thing, because he kind of leapfrogged Anthony Davis. You know, because everyone at the end of last season, going into this season, everyone was, I mean, had the pom-poms for Anthony Davis. But, you know, it all goes on to how you live in the playoffs. You know, if your team can proceed, then, I mean, but we've seen some great performances over this playoffs by Steph Curry. His star, a star is born. You know, he's no longer, you know, Dell's son. I mean, he stopped being that a little while ago, but I have to jump in and say, I have to give props to B-Rye, the sports guy, because he was one of the few people in internet radio and just who you know, brought it to my knowledge and I guess our team's knowledge, and our team when we were on the Barbershop Sports podcast, where he was calling out the Splash Brothers, and he was writing articles about the Splash Brothers, and I'm like, wow, it's good to see things come to fruition. But so tell me, this is the big question, and it's a question I asked you earlier before we delve into the game. I asked you this question about 6 hours earlier through a text message, and I said, has LeBron James surpassed Magic Johnson? And I put that question out there because so many people, you know, LeBron James, Michael Jordan, you know, and I'm like, no, it doesn't fit. It's like, you know, apples and oranges, a square peg in a round hole.
Exactly.
But can he be as good as Magic Johnson with a win this NBA Finals?
You have to look at it from this perspective. You're right. You know, the comparison for LeBron James and Michael Jordan it's not fair. They're two different style of players. If you're looking at Michael Jordan, the closest you're going to find will be Kobe Bryant. But you're right. Magic Johnson is a better comparison to LeBron James, because LeBron is the type that will get everybody else involved. He rebounds. He's one of the most accelerated, best passers you're going to find in the league, and he scores when he has to. Now, will he surpass Magic Johnson with a win in this situation? I think so. Statistically, the Warriors are one of the greatest teams of all time statistically. You know, besides winning all these games in the regular season, you know, their point differential in the playoffs, their win total in the playoffs, their margin of victory in the playoffs, there was some of the greatest teams in the history of the NBA. We're looking at the 96-97 Bulls. You're looking at the Lakers in the 80s, the Celtics in the 80s. You know, going all the way back to the history of the league. So if LeBron wins this one, this will be, you know, championship number 3. You know, that puts him in a rare company. He's been to the finals 6 times. You know, yes, he'll be 3-3 in the finals, and people say, oh, he lost games in the finals. So did Magic Johnson. You know, he's not perfect, but the thing is, you've gone to the finals 6 times in 11 years. That's not a bad number to look at. I mean, that's, you know, every other year you see LeBron James' face in the finals. That's what it is by average. So if he wins the championship with this team without having a healthy Kevin Love, you know, with Kyrie Irving's knee kind of questionable, and they're going against a team like Golden State who is this loaded, if he pulls it off, then yeah, you're going to put him in the top 6 or 7 all-time greatest players of all time. If he retired tomorrow, if he retired when the series is over, he'd be one of the 6 or 7 greatest players in the league's history, in my opinion.
I'm sure Magic would have a rebuttal to your response, because he would hold up one hand and let you know that he won 5 rings. Mm-hmm. But I think that's fair. I think it's a fair assessment, because we've seen this year, I mean, for all the LeBron haters that are out there, and there's many, this guy's put this team on his back, and you've seen his leadership. You've seen him step up to the point where you're like, oh my goodness, this guy's matured. I mean, has there been a few missteps along the way? Of course. But, I mean, that's the game called life. But along with that, I will say, give me some keys that you can possibly see the Warriors pull this one out.
I think the key for Golden State to win this series is the different number of bodies they can throw on LeBron James. You know, other than Draymond Green, they can use Harrison Barnes. Of course, they have Andre Iguodala. One of the reasons why they brought him in is for defensive purposes to guard the Kevin Durant, and he loves and takes a big pride in guarding LeBron James. And don't forget, Klay Thompson is a very, very good defender as well too. So you can throw as many as 4 guys on LeBron in this series. The X factor is, what can Iman Shumpert do on Klay Thompson? You know, in series where you watched Memphis, and Memphis used Tony Allen on Klay Thompson, he was ineffective. You know, it took Tony Allen to get hurt, you know, at the end of that series for Klay Thompson to really step his game up. The last series, you know, Houston's not exactly the best defensive team in the league, so James Harden is the guy guarding Klay Thompson. So if Shumpert can do a good job defensively on Thompson, you know, Steph Curry's going to have his way with Kyrie Irving, and it's going to turn to the point where you're going to make Steph Curry do all the damage, and then there's nobody else to do it. So I think what you do with LeBron James is one thing, because if those guys don't get in foul trouble, Green, Iguodala, and Barnes don't get in foul trouble, you can just keep rotating LeBron with fresh bodies. It's going to wear him down the entire series. I think, like I said, the second thing was Klay Thompson being an effective fact. Lastly is, what is Andrew Bogut going to do defensively? Because if Cleveland decides to go small and use Tristan Thompson, Thompson has a foot speed advantage over Bogut. If they have to use Mozgov, then Bogut will just be a beast on the boards and be a beast in the interior. So I would love to see what David Blatt does, or especially and Steve Kerr does to do matchups. But I think the X factor in the series is 2 guys on the Golden State side of it. Watch the play of Sean Livingston coming off the bench, and also watch Andre Iguodala. I think this is the series where he makes his money, and if he does anything like we saw Andre Iguodala in Philadelphia, and he puts that defense on LeBron, this could be, you know, a series that can end in 5 games.
Really? You think is as aggressive as 5 games? I mean, me being the basketball fan, I'm thinking 6 or 7 either way. I mean, that's what I would like to see. But the purists like yourself, what do you see?
Well, the thing is, for me, I say 5 games if Iguodala can take the challenge of LeBron and take him out of the game completely. You know, him and Draymond Green, because of the fact that Cleveland doesn't have Kevin Love. You know, you're not sure you're going to get Kyrie Irving, and J.R. Smith has been extraordinary in the playoffs. But with Smith being such a streaky shooter, it comes in waves. He hasn't hit a cold spell in the playoffs, and I'm not saying Cleveland's going to lose the series in 6 games, but it can be 5 games. But if Iguodala does that job and does a job defensively, then it's going to be hard for Cleveland to score, because Golden State's a very good defensive team. And if Golden State gets hot behind that 3-point line, I don't know if Cleveland's going to be able to match firepower with firepower, especially with Curry and Thompson just lighting up from the floor. So if I'm making a prediction for the series, I really think if LeBron controls the floor, LeBron controls what he has to do, the only way Cleveland wins this series is that this series goes 6 games, because they have to win Game 6 at home. You do not want to play Game 7 at Oracle. So if you're asking me who's going to win right now, with Klay Thompson having the concussion problems cleared, he's ready to go. Ted, we're going to get your wish. We're going to get a 7-game series. I'm picking the Warriors in 7. I don't think the Warriors can close it out in Cleveland, but they'll win Game 7 at home. So I say Warriors in 7.
Gotcha. Well, we got you on the hook. We got you on the hook on Late Night Parents, because you said it. Warriors in 7. I'm thinking definitely. I mean, like I said, as a fan, I would love to see 7 games. I loved the series of 2 years ago with Miami and San Antonio, when they were going back and forth, and I'm like, this is NBA basketball. This is what we're talking about. But
exactly.
I can tell you this: all that talk about LeBron not being clutch, LeBron not being a leader, all of this other stuff, that's all dead. That's all behind him. He quieted all the critics. And that's one thing that I'm actually, happy for. I wouldn't say I'm the biggest LeBron James fan, but I'm like, my goodness, this guy could say on social media the word blue, and you're going to get 10,000 favorites, 20,000 people are going to retweet it, and then you're going to have the critics say, hey, why did he say that? Why did he say blue and not green or yellow?
Exactly. Is he saying Knicks blue? Is he saying,
right?
That's the big story, with the finals being this weekend, and like you said, LeBron is the biggest story. I think the series is a different series if Kevin Love is in the lineup for Cleveland. It's kind of unfair that Cleveland's kind of shorthanded, but this is a series where if Cleveland wins it, they're going to have to earn it. Tristan Thompson's playing for a contract. He has a huge series, and somebody's going to throw a humongous deal at him. Mozgov, you might have an appearance of Mike Miller and Sean Marion appearances in the series. Like, you haven't seen those two guys, in months, but they're going to come off the bench. Don't be shocked if you see Kendrick Perkins in the series. They're going to throw everybody and everybody possible at Golden State. It's just, can Cleveland be able to run with the Warriors? And I said, if this series goes back to Game 7 in Golden State, in that arena, I just don't see Cleveland, even with LeBron James being the basketball messiah, pulling this one off. If he does, this will be I think probably the biggest upset in the finals, in years. This might be bigger than when, people thought that Dallas didn't stand a chance against Miami a few years ago. And you're looking at probably one of the biggest upsets in NBA history in the finals if Cleveland pulls this off, especially with how good Golden State's been all season.
Gotcha. I have one other question before we let you go. One question is, what in the world is going on with Dwayne Wade in Miami?
It's very simple. Dwayne Wade has been the poster child for being a team and organization man his whole career. He's never left the city of Miami. And with that being said, Dwayne Wade wants to get paid. And Pat Riley's telling him to pump his brakes and just opt into the contract for next season. So what's been going on, long story short, and we'll talk about this a little bit tomorrow night, is that Pat Riley has a vision, and the vision is to bring another Big Three to South Beach. The Big Three next year, actually have a super team next season when the TV deal comes up, and he's trying to keep the financial flexibility to land one person named Kevin Durant in South Beach. And the way he does it is if Wade opts into the deal this summer and doesn't take a $20 million a year salary, Wade plays the contract out, and then Wade becomes a free agent. Because you could re-sign your own player to any deal, the Heat would then go with the salary cap to re-sign Wade, but then keep the flexibility to go ahead and re-sign Hassan Whiteside, and then be able to give Kevin Durant pretty much a max offer to come to Miami. So you would have a line that they re-sign Dragic of Gordon Dragic, Dwayne Wade, Kevin Durant, Chris Bosh, and Hassan Whiteside. That's what Pat Riley's trying to do, and he's trying to get Wade to do it, but I'm not sure if Wade either A, is buying into it, or B, he just wants to end his career with a big payday, and that's something it's well-deserved for him.
Gotcha. Well, that's the insider information right there, I'll tell you that much. This is great. Danny, as always, we know you're on Happy Hour Network and also independently syndicated through various stations and platforms. But tell us the best way to get in contact with you via social media. And not only that, I'll leave it at that, because there was one other question I was going to put you out there.
Go ahead, Ted. Go ahead.
No, I mean, the best way to get in contact with, I'm hearing something about the NHL, and in your future, if I was to look into a crystal ball, there's something happening there. And
I will answer all those questions, and I won't do a LeBron James decision on this one. So, best way to contact with me will be, the show has its own Twitter handle, which would be at NBA FCP Radio. We have a face page with almost over just about 6,000 people on the page now, which is NBA Full Court Press on Facebook. It's the actual show logo, not the NBA logo, which is a place out in Australia, but big up those people as well too. My personal Twitter handle is NBADT29 on Twitter. And to answer your question about a frozen game in my future, yes, there is one. There's a new show coming on the Happy Hour Network debuting next Saturday afternoon. It is called Two Brothers the Hockey Puck, which is co-hosted by myself and the Hockey Writers, Florida Panther writer Antoine Staley, who also writes for Bleacher Report as well too. We're just two guys, talking about the coolest game on earth, and I'm excited about it, taking on a new endeavor, a new project. We're still not dropping SCP. Just the fact that I just picked up another podcast to do throughout, my time. So I'm excited about the NHL. We got the Cup Finals starting tonight. Tampa and Chicago playing down here in Tampa. So, we're going to talk about, a lot of those hockey things. And most importantly, this show is about not for just the hardcore fans. It's for the people who don't know hockey, the people who are just casual watchers, to turn them into hockey fans. Because if anybody watches, the Stanley Cup playoffs is probably the best set of playoffs you're going to find anywhere. And that's coming from an NBA guy. So that's just telling you something.
Oh, yeah, definitely it does. It definitely does. But as always, Danny, I can't thank you enough for taking the time out today, this evening, to discuss the happenings with the NBA, to let us know about the NBA show that you do, and also the, impending, oncoming NHL show. Because I will tell you from my perspective that I love hockey. I love watching hockey. Do I have to get more educated in hockey? Of course. Because, for me, hockey is, or hockey was the New York Islanders, and living out on Long Island and going to the Coliseum, but we know how that story played out. So understanding the ins and outs of the game itself. So I'm definitely going to be tuning in and listening to the show and excited on this new endeavor. And the fact that we get the great Antoine Staley on HHN is unbelievable. So, as usual, we continue to do it. And thanks for everything. And we will be talking with you very soon.
Thanks, Ted, for having me on. Have a good night, and we'll definitely do this again soon.
All right. Thanks again.
And that was none other than NBA DT 29, NBA Full Court Press Radio, Dannt Thompson, joining me earlier today to discuss his take on the NBA Finals. Now, I want to really get quickly into the Google I/O roundup and talk about, all the things that they made available at their annual conference, which is primarily photos is now uncapped. There's no limit on that. And I also wanted to go in a few things about Microsoft, but wait a minute. I think someone has just walked into the room. Every Avengers team or movie has one thing in common. They all have a Hulk. And I think as of last Saturday, we acquired a Hulk, and he's from the West Coast. Ranen Freshly is live with us right now because what's important is to know that he's on the Happy Hour Network. His handle is Freshly HHN, and the Ranen Freshly show drops in 2 days. And folks, you better get ready because it's a comedy podcast. You better, if you're thinking it's G-rated or anything like that, move the kids away. I'm telling you, but we're really excited. Ranen, how you doing, brother?
Ted, what's going on, man? This is it's an honor. I'm humbled. It's a privilege. Just living the dream right now. How are you doing, my friend?
Pretty good. Happy to have you on. Heard you a few weeks ago on my label date, EJ Christian, the Earnestly Speaking podcast, and I said, man, this guy is good. What the heck is going on? And opportunity knocks, and it actually knocked last week, and I happened to be sitting in front of my computer screen, and a message came up from none other than Ernest, EJ, and he was like, "Hey, we got a few things going on here," and we're always open. The good folks at Lee Val and Todd Vandenberg, who run this network, they are the co-CEOs. Ray, where do we start? What's going on with you? We're happy to have you, and happy to have a West Coast counterpart now.
Yeah, I feel like we're now we can just conquer the country. Like that's the plan. We have somebody everywhere now. I was a free agent for maybe 60 minutes, and we got to chatting, and it's my show is a unique show. It's definitely, like you said, it's not for everybody. It's not for the kids. It's kind of like what you used to sit around your college dorm room and talk about with your friends. We go everywhere and anywhere. We see the line and we basically sprint past it. It's all in good fun though. And so I think folks that have a little bit of an open mind and like to laugh, we're going to take you everywhere. That's our goal, me and producer Cindy, for sure.
I got to tell you, I was listening to one of the shows, and you were putting Cindy through the mill, and I was just like, oh my goodness. If I talk to my wife like that.
That's generally the reaction. And that's kind of what we're going for. I mean, she's a trooper, and for the longest time, folks didn't know that we were actually getting married. That was kind of the trick of the show, was that people were like, why does she put up with this guy? Unfortunately, she has to put up with me in real life, too, so it's a double whammy for this poor woman.
That's great stuff. Well, I'll tell you this much. The fact that you were a free agent for less than 60 minutes and then kaboom, the powers that be, just swarm in and just like, hey, what's going on? Hey, what's new? Hey, how are you doing? It's a great thing.
For me, it's like it's so difficult to find such a great company that will stand behind what we do. People are afraid of it. People are scared of adult humor, of what comedy really was, the blue comic, the Eddie Murphys, the Andrew Dice Clays of the world. This was what comedy was and should be. And it's so many people on my previous network that refused to even touch me, to even work with me, because we weren't afraid to drop a 4-letter word. It's funny, and if that's not your thing, cool. But there's a lot of people that like to laugh, and we're not trying to touch. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on in the world. Why do we have to talk about it all the time? Why don't we have 60 minutes where we just laugh about dumb stuff? And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to be something that relaxes you a little bit.
So what he's saying is, folks, if you're expecting to hear about the latest and greatest from the Kardashians, or Caitlyn Jenner, or any of that other stuff, well, we might tell you the gossip side of it, but you can definitely expect the much more funnier side of the world through the eyes and lens of Ranen Freshly and producer Cindy. I'm really excited about the debut this coming Friday. As noted, we're probably going to have next week. Want to have you walk through most of the shows on the network and to stop in for a few minutes and say hello and get used to different fan bases. Because, that's the one thing about Happy Hour Network. It's a diverse network where all different types of shows. We're talking parenting stuff. Like, in the next 10 minutes, I'm talking about children time and their screens and screen time. I'm
going to need to listen to that for sure. Yeah, I'm there.
We talk about that. We talk about baseball. We talk about basketball. EJ's show is really dynamic. We got the Filthy Dish that's on Friday. We got the FWAT show with the real Rob Steele, who's coming up next. Between S District Radio, you name it, different shows. So it's not that run-of-the-mill network, Ranen, where you're going to just sit here and say, oh, here they go. They're going to quote stats. Okay, they're going to talk about, let's whatever is on ESPN there, they'll be talking about it on there. Nah, not at all. And you fit in perfectly. So proud to have you on.
I appreciate that. Cindy and I are absolutely stoked to be a part of this network. It's definitely a network I've had an eye on for quite some time, especially with my good buddy EJ. He's had me on a couple times, and the fact that you guys even came to me is unbelievable. So we're absolutely amazed to be here, and we can't wait to get to work, that's for sure.
Definitely. I'm hearing that my microphone is going alien. Do I sound like the Transformers?
It was for a little bit. I thought Megatron was online. I got a little nervous. I almost hung up because I wasn't going to deal with that. I'm a good Jewish boy. I wasn't going to deal with all that. But
oh my goodness! So listen, excited. So when's your show coming on?
We're debuting Friday. Looks like it's going to be 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So the kids should be asleep. 8 p.m. Pacific. So right for my Californian friends, right when they're having dinner with their family, throw us on. It's a good family conversation. It'll be perfect. Pass the meatloaf, drop some F-bombs. It'll be awesome.
That's the best thing about it. And the great thing about it, you will be streaming 24/7.
Beautiful.
Forever.
Beautiful.
So it's kind of like this is one of those things where, hey, you're going to try and get yourself banned, but unfortunately you won't be able to.
That's kind of been the ongoing joke ever since I signed. How quickly will I get us all banned? But, one network a long time ago was like, well, we can't put Ranen's show on because we want shows that people can listen to at work. And I'm like, yeah, I get that. Definitely don't put me on. I'll have everybody in the office fired within 20 minutes. So I don't want all that. Got you. Well, Ranen, tell us best ways to get in contact with you via social media. Just my Twitter. I'm very active on there. You can get at me at Freshly, FRESHLY, HHN. And, of course, you can get at Producer Cindy, at Producer Cindy. Definitely harass her on Twitter. She loves it. Got you. I will say this really quickly. Hold on. You caught me offhand. So one time round of applause for the newest member of Happy Hour Network, Ranen Freshly. Thanks so much, brother. Going to be turning those applause into groans any day now, so I appreciate that. Well, you make sure you try your hardest, all right? I'll do my best, Ted. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. Have a great rest of your show. You too. And that was Ranen Freshly, who just joined us, as a drive-by to discuss what's happening in his world. And his show starts Friday night, 8 p.m. Pacific time, comedy podcast that's going to be on here. Expecting big things from it. Real quickly, before my microphone goes alien again, a couple of blogs that we have on Late Night Parents. One we put up on Saturday, got a few hits. It was talking about the Charter Communications and them purchasing Time Warner Cable, or merging with Time Warner Cable and purchasing Bright House Network. What does it mean to you? Which, for the most part, it should mean something, because this is going to cover about 20 million homes in the U.S., this one specific company. So we were making mention to Cyberdyne's systems from the Terminator. We talked real quickly about Microsoft Windows 10, which is coming out as a download, and they're going to be just pushing it to everyone. I don't know how I feel about that, being a career IT person, but if you are on a specific network and you have Windows 7 or Windows 8 or Windows 8X and you're logging into a specific domain, you have nothing to worry about. This update won't be pushed to you on July 29th. But if you're anyone else, trust me, be afraid. Real quick, we wanted to talk about the vanilla card. I received the vanilla card from our friends, and the phone is ringing as usual. Received the vanilla card from our friends. Used it. It's an alternative way of using, instead of
having a bank account attached to an ATM card. It's a prepaid card. We did a blog on it, real quick post about it. Very, very interesting. I'm noticing that the prepaid cards are, very popular, especially for like the high school grads. And I don't know, I guess people are calling for Ranen already. I mean, my goodness. We talked about AT&T Labs. I'm going to be at the AT&T annual event on the 17th. We'll be live on Hang With. You know how everyone's on Periscope? Well, we're going to be on Hang With. We got to go in the other direction. Everyone, people are no longer talking about Meerkat. People are no longer talking, they're only talking about Periscope. So we're going to go the Hang With route because that's what we do. But a couple of other things I had wanted to talk about, but without further ado, I think we have in the queue he's driving on through right now, and I hope I don't sound like an alien to him, but we have
no more than usual.
The host of the FWAT show, the real Rob Steele, and yes, we are related. I'm the real Ted Hicks. He's the real Rob Steele.
Yeah, right, something like that.
So, Rob, it's a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thanks for having me, man.
Hey, no problem. And usually you and I, we connect up and talk at least once a week and talk about, the world of podcasting and, the business behind it. But one important thing that you mentioned, and it's a topic that I've touched on several occasions, children and their screen time, which is always been a hot topic. Always, how much TV time is too much for your son, for your daughter. But before we even get into that, Rob, what's going on in your world?
Oh, geez. I've got kids. What else can there be going on in my world? No, I don't know about yours. My kids got out of school like a week ago, and I've already run through just about all my list of, all right, here's what we're going to do this summer. And I'm already, a week in. Crap, I'm done. What's next? And then, of course, and just so you know, if I disappear in the middle of the show, it's not you. It's the severe thunderstorms I've got going on outside.
Okay.
Which is, has kept the kids inside, but thankfully we haven't had a power outage, which means, oh, goody, my kids can watch TV. Which, there's a segue. No, that's something that's been bugging me for a while, because normally, when I do the FWAT show, it's, lots of headlines, I make fun of people and stuff, but there are some times when I just need to take a whole show and do a topic, and this was one of them. Because, I've got 3 kids who are on summer break, and I don't want them sitting around watching TV all day. Thankfully, we live in an area where they've got friends and stuff. But when they do watch TV, because that's an inevitable thing. It's going to rain, all their friends have gone out, you've got stuff to do, fine, go watch TV. Leave me alone, go watch something. But the state of kids' TV today is just ridiculous. And I know, our parents said that when we were growing up and watching our shows, like the Bugs Bunny cartoons and the Sesame Street and everything. But even those have just, they've gone to hell. I'm sorry, can I say that on your show?
Of course.
Okay, just checking. I can say much worse. You were talking about Ranen a minute ago. And some of the things he says on his show, I'll say them on mine too, but I'll beep them because I think they're even funnier because you know what I'm saying. It's just, throwing a beep on it, to me, makes it funnier. Anyway. I can't have a, sit down time with my kids and watch TV that are, kids shows because they're all crap now. Even Sesame Street, all the Muppets have gone nuts. The Muppets that we grew up with are gone. I can see Kermit looking at Elmo, who needs Prozac, and Telly, who needs Ritalin, and all these other Muppets who are just completely whacked out of their minds. Kermit had to have at one point just gone, screw this, I'm out of here. And it just doesn't work anymore. Back in the 80s when Tipper Gore got a hold of the Looney Tunes cartoons, they're not real cartoons anymore. The punchlines got cut out.
Not only
comments.
Rob.
Yeah, sorry,
Rob,
I'm rambling.
No, it's good. I just got to jump in and say, whatever happened to those cartoons? At some point, that shift happened when kids were watching Adult Swim, and it's like common for them to do it. And I'm like, it's.
I don't let them do it. At least not my
can't.
Kids.
You can't.
No, I mean, there's, like I mentioned in my show, I think that it all started going to hell with Cow and Chicken, which was a stupid concept anyway. But what was it? The theme song? Mama had a chicken, Mama had a cow. Dad was proud, he didn't care how. Hang on a minute, Mom's banging farm animals in a kids show, and that's okay. But the coyote running off a cliff and going, oh, that's not good anymore. What the hell happened to us as people? When did
I don't know.
I don't know.
When did
that switch happen, man?
I don't know. Tell me, what are you doing to manage screen time? And when I throw this out, when I say screen time, mobile devices, Xbox, PlayStation, or just staring into reality TV. Like how are you monitoring this?
Well, my kids know that they don't get to watch shows unless it's something I've approved. And they know that if they watch something that I don't approve of, then, give me that iPad and your phone and your Xbox and this and everything else and off to your room and read a book. That is something I do. I make my kids read, go figure. And, not even my books. Here, have something else. Pick a topic you like. I have my middle daughter is big into forensics, so she will read forensics textbooks, which I think is awesome. My little one is into superheroes real big, so she will, I've gotten her some of the children novel version of comic books, and she'll read those. And I think, that's cool. Whenever they have the opportunity to go outside, I kick them out of the house because I live in that kind of an area. If I lived in, I don't know, New York, yes, downtown New York, no, I'm not going to kick my kids outside and go run amok in the streets. No. I live in Georgia where there's still kind of, the suburb kind of thing and the occasional park, which you can't find anywhere else anymore. So, yeah, get them out of the house. I try to keep them as disconnected from everything as possible, because when they're in the house, middle daughter there with her iPhone. My oldest will come back from college. I've got a kid in college, Ted. I'm old. She'll come back. She'll have her laptop in her lap, her iPad on her right, her iPhone on her left, and I'm like, who the hell are you talking to? Well, this one's talking to that one. I'm like, your left hand is talking to your right hand through an iPhone. What the hell? No, stop that. And, when they do watch TV, I make sure that they watch, they can watch one of their shows that I've approved, but then they also have to watch something to kind of counter it. Like Planet Earth is a good series. Pretty, keeps the kids quiet, and teaches them something at the same time. There are some things out there like that, and that's a great thing for the kids.
Definitely. I want to switch gears real quick because it hasn't been noted. All right. It's been noted. It's been noted that it hasn't been noted. You're an author. You're a podcaster. You have a really unique show, which gives you all the information that you need in a 10-minute format, which I haven't seen it, and I'm just glad that you're on the network also, and we're all working together on this. So give us a quick rundown of the FWAT Show, and then tell us about your book.
The FWAT Show, all the news you need to know, and probably some you don't, all in about 10 minutes. I collect news stories Some of them are the big news stories. Some of them are the little news stories that you probably missed. I give you the short form of them, and yeah, I'll throw some humor in with it, because a lot of these news stories, when you read them, you go, okay, that was just stupid and begging to be made fun of, so adieu. And the 10-minute format is just, I don't want to drag it out. I mean, I was kind of basing this very, very loosely on The Daily Show, right? Which, will sometimes get a story and do some good with it, but then run a bit long. What I do is I take it and I will do as many stories in one of my shows as Jon Stewart will do in a week. And I do it Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and I decided on the Friday because The Daily Show isn't on Fridays, because that makes sense to them somehow. I don't get that. So yeah, that's the FWAT Show in a nutshell. Even the new URL, thefwatshow.com. How hard is that, right? The hard part, FWOT. I'm not going to tell you what it stands for on this show because there might be kids listening. But it's on the website under the frequently asked question. What the hell does that stand for anyway? Look it up. It's there. I'm giving you homework. It goes along with taking away your screen time. Anyway, the other thing is the books that I've got. I've written a couple sci-fi novels. They are available on my website, steel42.com, or if you go to the FWAT Show website, there's a 42 button, and it goes back to my site, which has buttons for the books. I guess the short form for those is I wanted to do a comic book really bad because I got some really cool comic book ideas in my head, but I can't draw. So I ended up doing a novel out of them, and they turned out pretty good. Although I'm going to have to say this. There's a guy who reviewed the first book on Amazon, and he said that he didn't like it. And if you don't like my stuff, that's fine. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. What bugs me about the review he gave was, I gave up after 30 pages. I'm like, dude, you're not even through the opening credits. That's something that bugs me about, sometimes is, I'm not going to watch that show. I watched the opening credits and they were horrible. It's the opening credits. Watch the show, Anyway, enough about that. But yeah, I'm actually working on a third book, which is actually unrelated to the first two. And no, I have no idea when I'll be done with it.
Just really quick, Rob, how long does it take for you from start to finish, from the initial inception to publishing it? Has it taken you, your two books that you've written?
Wow. Writing them was easier than getting them published. Because the way a lot of publishing goes today is you don't send your book to the publisher and say, hey, would you like this book? And they send you back a letter that says, no, usually. You have to find a literary agent you have to sell the book to the literary agent, and by sell, I don't mean monetary. I mean you have to get them to buy the idea behind the book. And they have to sell the book to the publishing company, and then arguments ensue about, I think you should edit this part and this part. No, but the sequel book has this and that. Oh, geez. And it becomes just a big to-do. Or you can always go, publish it yourself, but then you have to do marketing yourself, which means you have to have the money behind it. But if you don't have the money behind it, then no one knows they exist, which is kind of the way mine are at the moment. So if you're listening, go to my website, buy a book. They're the e-book versions. This is something I wanted to make sure that happened, because I hate it when you want to buy a book and you've got the hard copy and you've got the e-copy, and you look at them on Amazon and they're the same friggin' price, which I think is stupid. So yeah, the hard copy of my book, it's about 5 times as much as the e-copy, which is cheap. So,
Gotcha.
Hey, Rob.
And it's available for all formats. So.
I'm sorry, Rob. Rob, tell us the best ways to get in contact with you via social media.
You can either find me on Twitter at RealRobSteele, Steele with 3 E's, not in a row, or find me on the FWAT page on Facebook, facebook.com/FWAT1, because for some reason it won't let me put the FWAT show as a URL. I don't know why. So, or even go to the FWAT show website. There's a discuss page. I answer questions, so ask anything.
Rob, thanks so much for joining the show. Guys, we're out of here. We're out of time. All the best.
Good night, everybody.
And Rob, thank you so much. And we're going to close out with a shout-out to my buddy, Deacon Joe Jackson, who just passed away. I wanted to play the reminisce for Over You. I reminisce.